Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk. I am your host, Asia the Bird. Today, I have a very special guest with me today. She's an award-winning, world-renowned nail artist, nail educator, and nail distributor. Please welcome Gina Silvestro. Hello, Gina. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Asia. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
You are most welcome. So, I wanted to kickstart with the whole beginning. So, what was your upbringing like, and how did you get into the nail industry?
So I grew up in Rhode Island, a small town right out of Providence, Rhode Island, and I got a job when I was in high school as a receptionist in a nail salon back in the 80s. Actually, it was the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Nails were really just getting really big back then, and I wanted to be a hairstylist, but working in the nail salon, I realized I was always into art and I loved art. So I realized how the nail techs actually were able to express their artistic abilities on nails, and I was
Mm-hmm.
intrigued by it. So I started doing nails when I was in high school. On the side, I learned watching the girls in the salon. I
Mm-hmm.
started doing them on my friends, and when I went to hairdressing school, I just really loved nails so much that I decided to just pursue nails.
Mm-hmm.
And I started working in 1990, right after, right when I finished with school. And I've been doing it ever since. I did it full time. I
Mm-hmm.
did nails in the salon since 1990. I opened my own salon in 2006. And now I still own a salon and a distribution center. I actually became an educator in 2005
Mm-hmm.
for Accents nail products. And then
Mm-hmm.
I became a distributor shortly after that. And I've just built that business now. And that's pretty much sums it up in a nutshell, but that's it. There's a
Yeah, that's
lot more, but that's a kind of a short, quick version of it.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very nice story. So, in terms of like the nail industry, has there anybody that really like mentored you to get into the nail industry? Was there anybody that really pushed you in terms of like your artistry?
Well, to get into it, the owner of the salon, her name was Gina Silvestro. She was from Ohio originally, and that's how I got into the industry. But once I started working full time in the salon, I was pretty much just on my own. 6 months after starting, I rented space, and I was the only nail tech in the salon. And back then, there was no internet. I got my Nails magazine and my Nail Pro magazine, which influenced me a lot with art and other things, but mostly I did it full time. I had 3 kids and I was just a working mom, and I loved
Mm-hmm.
working on my clients and connecting with my clients and working in the salon atmosphere. Then I discovered gel nails
Mm-hmm.
probably around 2005, seeing it in all the magazine. Anna LaJordi was from Canada, and she had a cover of the most beautiful pink and white nails on the cover. And I
Yeah.
read the article, and the product that she had used was Accents, and gel
Mm-hmm.
was very new in the United States at the time. So I found a distributor. Her name was Kelly. She was based in Washington State. She was the only US distributor for Accents at the time. It was a very small
Mm-hmm.
Canadian company based out of BC. So she kind of mentored me, and I bought the products from her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started teaching other people locally, because people would go up to my customers and say, "What is on your nails? It's gorgeous. What is that?" So I started getting all of this influx of customers from referrals, because there
Mm-hmm.
was such a huge difference in, the look and the way they held up. And
Right.
I couldn't keep up with the business. So I started teaching other nail techs. I actually had nail techs come to my salon and say,
Mm-hmm.
"What are you using? Can you show me?" So I started teaching them just because I loved it and I was so passionate about it. And then I
Mm-hmm.
decided, why don't I see if I could, maybe become an educator,
Right.
and get into that. And I really didn't know much about that end of the industry at the time.
Right.
Um, and that's when I reached out to the company. I became an educator, and I started going to trade shows, and I saw this whole other side of the industry that I knew nothing about, because at this time the internet was becoming a really
Mm-hmm.
big thing. And then I found the beauty tech forums as well, right
Mm-hmm.
around this time. Beauty tech was a nail forum where nail techs could go and say, "What do you use?" You see an advertisement and you know that it's an advertisement paid by a manufacturer. But when you go on a forum and you have actual nail techs who are sharing the products that they like, that have worked for them, and sharing tips and techniques. So beauty tech, and Deb Dorlman had started beauty tech. That was a huge influence, and I met so many other educators. And then I got into educating. And then I started working with the High Road to Education with Tammy Ferreira. She was based out of Buffalo. And we started educating with all of these amazing educators. We started teaching these group classes, which were non-product specific. You know, you could just go to a class and it wasn't somebody just trying to sell you a product. It was just people sharing the techniques. And I think that was one of the biggest things was having the opportunity to learn from so many amazing educators from all different companies and different parts of the world. We traveled all the way to Singapore, Australia, all through the United States. And each time we did a class, we had different educators, you know, really well-known, amazing educators. And I was able to not only teach the classes during that, but I was able to sit through their classes and learn so much from them. And I mean, the mentors and the people I've learned from over the past 35 years, I mean, some of the best in the industry. I've had the opportunity to learn from Tran Nguyen, from Odyssey, Max, Estrella, Viv Simmons, and Catherine Wong were two of my biggest mentors. I would say we became really close friends, but also, you know, I mean, to name them, Profiles, Girls, there's just so many different educators that I've had the opportunity to learn from. I wouldn't even want to really start listing them because I wouldn't want to forget anybody. You know? Like all these different people. And so, yeah, so there's just so many over the course of the years that I've learned from. I even learned from my own students when I'm teaching a class. You know, you learn something and you're like, wow, I didn't know that. And you take that with you, you know, and then you just develop and yeah. So it's just constantly learning and advancing and changing with the times and keeping up with new techniques and new products as they develop.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, like last year I interviewed Catherine Wong and Viv Simmons, and learning from them, you know, I've been so inspired by their work. Their work is astounding.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
So now I wanted to ask, and pertaining to like how you, Catherine, and Viv first met, I want you to give your side of the story, because I've heard, you know, Viv's side and I heard a little bit of Catherine's side. So I want to know from your side, like, how did you guys first meet and develop like this friendship that you guys have today?
So Catherine, actually, she's probably one of the biggest reasons I could credit my advancement in the education industry to, because I was a distributor for Accents. I was posting videos. At the time, it wasn't YouTube. You could only do like a 15 or 30-second clip on YouTube. You couldn't post tutorials on YouTube, but I found a video hosting website, and I found a way to host and post my videos on my website at the time. And this is back in 2006 when it wasn't a very easy thing to do, but I did my investigations, and unbeknownst to me, there were people all around the world that were watching them. And I got a call from Accents headquarters asking me, saying that I was requested to go to Singapore to teach an Accents class in Singapore by Catherine Wong, who I didn't know personally, but I was absolutely, she was, you know, an idol to me, a nail idol. And I still remember that phone call to this day. Like my heart was like, you know, I never had traveled besides in New England teaching classes. And now here I am being invited to fly to Singapore to teach a class. So I went out there and I taught the class. And then the following year we were doing, she was close to Viv. And so, you know, I got to know who Viv was through her. And then Viv came to a class in the United States, a High Road to Education class. Catherine got her involved in the High Road, and Viv came. And we had the opportunity to work together at that time. And then the three of us just kind of clicked and started doing classes together. And I don't know, maybe just all of us, we have kids the same age, and us being in the same business, we were educators, we were nail techs, we owned salons, but we were also distributors. So we had this connection that just kind of formed right from the beginning, and we just clicked. And now it's, you know, we might not see each other for 2 years, and we just pick up where we left off, and there's just this bond there.
Most definitely. Now, I know that you did covers with Catherine Wong and Viv Simmons. So what has been your favorite nail cover that you've done with them?
We had the cover, and I can't remember right now when it was, but it was with the really long nails with the butterfly. I think you probably know which one I'm talking about. I
Yes,
have it
Velcro.
upstairs somewhere. But that one was the most memorable. The trip itself, we just had the best time, the three of us. I built the nails. I built the nails. Catherine did a lot of the art. Viv did a lot of the 3D. We kind of tag teamed and did this whole thing, and it was just an all day. It was really a long day, but we just had so much fun with it, and it was just one of the best trips that we've had. Besides doing the nails, even just outside of that, the road trips and the fun times and the laughs was incredible.
All right, that's awesome. So you've owned your own nail salon. So give us your experience of owning a nail salon, and what piece of advice would you give for someone who wants to own their own salon or nail studio?
I would just say, it's a lot of work, obviously. If it's something that you love and that it's something that you want to do and be successful, then you should absolutely go for it and just try to learn as much. There's a lot of really good business classes that you can take. If you don't find one locally, like Premier Nail Orlando, the nail shows, usually Premier has a lot of classes and business classes, and there's a lot of people who offer those type of classes. But there's a lot of ways to learn different business techniques, because it goes just beyond doing nails. There's so much more involved in owning a business. So I would say do your homework, take business classes if you can, learn as much as you can, and just be prepared for anything. There's so much involved in the salon owner part of the industry too, and when I started, I had girls who worked for me for commission. I had girls who worked as rental. Now I currently own a salon, but I don't work in the salon anymore. I retired probably about 7 years ago from the salon. I still do nails on some close customers and friends. Out of my house, I have a little studio. But my business, the business end of it, the educating, the traveling, running a distribution business, it got to be too much. So with the balance, I had to kind of switch over. But my daughter actually is a nail tech now, my oldest daughter, Miranda. So she manages the salon, and I have 7 amazing girls who have been with me for many years. They work there, and they're a great asset to our team. So there's a lot involved. I would just say get as much education and try to learn as much as you can about the business end of it, because there's a lot. The more you know with anything, it's a whole different learning experience owning a salon and running a salon. And it's a lot of work. So just be prepared.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a whole lot of work. It's probably a very, very, very long process in terms of starting up a business. So I want to get into nail and skincare. So how important is nail and skincare, and how important is also safety and sanitation within the salon or doing any nail service?
It's probably the most important thing: safety, sanitation, following all the local health guidelines. And especially, I believe that with this recent pandemic, I think it's really brought a lot of that, brought a lot more awareness to our industry. Most people who follow the codes and follow all sanitation guidelines were already practicing and, taking care of everything to the highest standard. But I think that customers are more aware now, and I think that's great. And it's a good thing that people are more aware, because it is the most important thing. Obviously, we can do beautiful nails, we can make nails look pretty, but our clients' health and safety is top priority in a salon.
Yeah, most definitely. In terms of nail distribution, for someone who doesn't know what that is, can you define what nail distribution is, and how does one get involved with nail distribution?
Well, that's a whole, when I started working with Accents was many years ago, and it was a very small business. Accents was started by a nail tech. And when she started her business model was that she would have educators and a distributing kind of. In my mind at the time, I thought it would be like selling Avon kind of, you have a show or a class, let's say. People come, you show them how to use the makeup, and they buy the product. So I assumed that's what it would be like with being a distributor. I would invest a little bit of money, buy some product, and I would sell it. And I was working full time in the salon at the time. And I think my family and everybody were just like, oh yeah, here goes Gina with another one of her ideas. And I quickly learned there was a lot more involved with distribution. The product that I distribute the company I distribute for is also an international company. So it's based out of Canada. So I've learned everything about customs, shipping. There's so many rules, regulations, and laws, accounting, bookkeeping, licensing, and guidelines, and business. There's a lot involved. So when you take that and you add that to owning a salon and everything you need to learn, and then working on your clients, and there's just so much. I would just say that it was very difficult for me. I started slowly, so it's been years, and I started, a long time ago, and I dedicated a lot of my personal life, because I would work full time, come home, get the kids settled, and I would literally be working till 3 or 4 in the morning, whether it was working on the website, doing bookkeeping, shipping, managing every aspect of all of the different businesses combined, social media, working on my skills, working on competitions, traveling. Honestly, I think back and it's a whirlwind. I don't know how I did it, but I think that there's a lot more involved than people think. Fortunately, I was able to do it, and it was a gradual growth and learning process over the past, 15 years. Has it been 15? Yeah, I think it's been 15 years.
Wow.
But I think that maybe sometimes people think that it's something that they're just going to do, and it's going to be easy. It's like with anything. It takes a lot of work. I'm so glad that I invested the time and effort now, because my business has grown. I've learned so much. I've had so many opportunities. But I think if my younger self knew what I was getting into, I probably would have just been like, nah, this is too much for me. I'm glad I didn't know, because I stuck to it and I put the work in, and now I'm really happy with, all of the opportunities and where I am right now in the industry and in my business.
So in terms of nail education, how important is nail education, considering you've been an educator for accents, and you also have you had your own courses within the Gel Centrals Academy. So how important is nail education, and what courses do you possibly offer?
So currently, last year, it was right around the time of COVID, I actually developed a really bad radial tunnel with my arm. I wasn't able to work for about 6 months. So I've kind of been on a little bit of a hiatus between that and COVID with education. Haven't started getting back into it. I'm just looking into getting back into doing some classes. I've been talking to some people, setting up some things now that things are getting a little bit back to normal. But it's really important to have the balance, to be able to do, and offer everything. I think that education, in-person education, is amazing, and it's so important. There's also videos, and there's a lot of people who are learning how to, make really great videos that are available to people who don't have in person. And that's one of the things that we're actually doing right now, is we have a lot of amazing ACE educators around the world that are developing some amazing classes online that I'll be able to have on my website too. So this way, if people can't get in-person classes, they have online classes, credible classes that are available. But currently right now, we have an educator in-house. Her name is Dana. And she does classes every month or so at our salon. And we have other educators who are just getting back into doing it now after COVID. But yeah, education is everything. We go to school, but the skills that we learn are just skills that you have to learn from somebody who's been doing it. And, and we always learn something new. Everything's changing. Products are changing. Product knowledge is really, really important, especially nowadays with technology and gels. And, people need to understand how everything cures properly to avoid reactions and to use things, and to avoid any adverse effects caused by uncured products and, sanitation. And yeah, this education is really, really important.
I definitely agree with that. Now, in terms of, considering you've been around the world, in terms of nail education, do you see a difference between different parts of the world, especially with nail schools and cosmetology schools? What's your whole take on that?
I think So the different parts of the world, they have different requirements. Some of them don't even have nail schools. You can take a course from, a place who offers classes that are certified, and that's, enough in certain places. I do think that with traveling, I see a lot of different people's, it's all what you put into it. A lot of people will show up to a class and they don't do their homework. They just show up and expect to learn everything in a 3-hour class. And there's so much more involved. Right. I remember when I went to Viv's, Viv became a distributor and wanted all of her educators to learn gel when most of them were acrylic experts. So I flew out to Australia and she had all of her educators she rented this big house, and we did this like boot style camp 3 or 4 day class. And I walked in and none of them had done gels before, but they had all of the information. They had the manuals and everything. And I swear they memorized every word, every product I said, I introduced. They already knew all of the literature and all of the practical information because they had read it all. And it made it so much easier for me to teach the class because they had studied all of the information and spent the time because they wanted to get the most out of the class while they were there. They paid attention to every word I said. A lot of times I find I'll go to classes and people don't do the homework. They don't invest the time. They sit in the class, they don't pay attention. Sometimes they're on their phones. And then when it comes time to do it, they want you to come and hold their hand and show you, even though you've already showed it. They don't really pay attention. And I think that's a culture thing, or just, everybody has a different work ethic in different ways. But I've been to places like in Russia, we went out and we taught a class, and the people in the class, you could hear a pin drop through the whole class. They sat, they paid attention. And when it came time to do it, none of them afterwards, I found out, were even nail techs. They were the distributors and the business people. They wanted them to learn the basics. And they were amazing. I felt like I was teaching these experienced nail techs because when it came time to do the work, they paid attention to every little detail of everything. And they had already studied everything and knew everything. So I would say to tell people that are just getting into the industry, there's a lot of information. Learn as much as you can. Read about every product, study the products, and know them ahead of time so that when they're introduced, you already have a general understanding and just really pay attention. And sometimes it's not even just paying attention to what an educator is saying or doing. It's the way they're holding the brush. It's the way they're sitting. It's there's so many little things that you can learn by watching somebody work. Which is why I also think in-person classes are really advantageous to people who are taking classes, because you can see so much more than just a screen with a hand and a nail, especially when it comes to building a nail and structure and everything else. There's so much involved.
I could definitely agree with that. I think hands-on courses would be a lot easier because you get to see what they're doing, but also you get to understand how they're doing the technique or the nail service. Exactly. So I think just providing that balance, not just online by itself, but also online and also in person. So you have those two differences, and also you can learn better using both of those ways. So in terms of nail competitions, I want to get into that really quickly. So what has been your experience nail competing?
So nail competing, my very first experience with a competition was I was a model for Catherine Wong. Prior to that, I would watch the people during the competitions and just think to myself, I could never be there. I could never, I'm not that good. And I could never be one of those people. And I remember as her model sitting there and, she's doing my nails. And I can see that there's all these competitors in the room, but they're also friendly with one another. Even though they're competing against one another, they were helping each other, sharing things if somebody needed something. And it was a whole different camaraderie, I think, between the competitors that I didn't realize. And she ended up winning the competition. I actually felt like I won the competition just because I was her model. And I was so invested at this point, just sitting there. And I was the feeling of winning, even though I hadn't done any of the work, but I just felt so excited as if I had just won my own competition that I said, I'm going to do this next year. And I did. I vowed to do it, even though I was so busy with my business and my kids and everything else. I dedicated time every week. And it was a 3D competition, and I learned so much from it because there were things that I may have never tried to do because you just sometimes you think that's beyond my ability. And once you do it and you push yourself, you actually learn as you're working. So my techniques in the salon improved because I was practicing, and then I would practice on my customers without them even knowing it. And over the course of that year, my techniques for art, it was amazing how much I improved. And then I had the competition. I was in the competition and I ended up winning first place.
Wow,
Which
congratulations.
was amazing. But however, then I was a veteran and I had only had one competition. So it kind of put me in this category where now I have to compete against people like Viv and Catherine and Hazel and all these other people. So that was kind of scary, but it wasn't just, even if I hadn't won, I set a goal, and I completed it. I learned so much from it, and I didn't expect to win. When I won, I mean, it was amazing, but even before I won, just doing it, I felt a sense of accomplishment. And then after that, I have only done maybe 4 or 5 competitions. I placed third in a gel competition. I placed maybe like 5 or 6 where I didn't even, not in the top 3, but each one I dedicated time, I practiced, I pushed myself, and my skills improved tremendously every time I did a competition just because of the practice and the dedication I put into it. So I always felt like even if I didn't win, that I would, I won. But then the last competition I did was 7 years ago. When I retired from the salon, I decided I was going to really get into competing because I would have more time. But I really didn't have more time because I feel like as soon as I retired from the salon, I started traveling even more. There were more opportunities, and I was really even busier, I think, than before. And I did the competition and I won, and it was my first veteran competition win. And that was my last competition that I did. And I, every time I go, and I've judged quite a few competitions as well. And it's just so exciting, and yeah, it's amazing. I would say to anybody who wants to improve their skills, compete. Even if you don't know anything about competitions or you're not trying to win, just do it because you're going to get better at your skills.
Yeah, most definitely. I can agree with that because I remember when I first competed, the first competition I did was Nail Olympia Online 2021, and I did the flat art box and like the mixed media. So like I didn't place in the mixed media, but I placed in the flat art, and I got third in Division 1.
Congratulations!
I was like, wow. Thank you. And it was held. It just was over like in March or so of this year. It started last October, but it was like a pretty long, lengthy online competition. So it was really, really cool because I said, okay, I want to take this leap and try something. And I'm competing in Nails X Top Nail Artist Season 8. So I'm seeing how.
Yeah, I noticed that. Good luck with that. That's exciting. A lot of work too.
Yeah, a lot of work. Is every week, 10 weeks. So yeah, but it's really exciting because with nail competitions, you can learn from a lot of people around the world,
Oh, yeah.
And Viv Simmons and Catherine Wong are the reason why, I was into nail art, because of their work and how much creativity they had, and they honed their craft like so much. And it's crazy how, the possibilities are endless.
It really is.
And you get so much inspiration from everybody around the world. So I want to ask, in terms of nail judging, like what brought you the most joy in terms of nail judging? Like what stood out to you?
I just think seeing people, put that effort in, not even just seeing the winners, just seeing people actually making the effort and dedicating the time and learning and doing and improving. And nails, I've done live competitions and I've judged, and anything like that, especially being a competitor, when you know the amount of work that goes into it,
right?
And you see people, doing the work, and they they're advancing, they're learning, they're winning. It's a great feeling. But Nails Top Nail Artist, I've judged the past few years, and that's been exciting just because when Nails Top Nail Artist first began, I think it was maybe the second season, one of my nail techs in my salon, Danielle Costantino, was one of the top 3. And she worked in the salon, and she had a little boy, and she worked full time, and she started doing this. And I was like, that's so amazing, Danielle. And, I kind of mentored her through the process. She did all the work, obviously, but with me being in the industry, I actually got to see her, staying late, working, doing all these videos and doing all these things. And I was amazed by the amount of work and effort, and, it was dedication. And then we went, and a few of the other girls from the salon, I had my daughter come too, so that we would be there for her for the support when it was in California at the time, when they had the grand finale, and she ended up winning third place. And I think it was with Lexi Martone, who I actually became friends with around that time. And I can't remember who the other girl was right now. My brain isn't working right, but that was an amazing thing. And working as a judge, judging these competitions and watching the videos, I'm learning every time, every time I'm judging it, because we're watching all the videos of how they created this. I'm like, I never thought to do that. I think I've learned more judging the top nail artist competition than even doing it myself, just being a judge. And I think, what's nice is that all of these tutorials that they've done are out there for anybody to watch. There's so much information available for things that you can learn, even to use in the salon, even if you're not competing, So I think it's great. It's a great thing.
I can most definitely agree with that. Now, in terms of your favorite nail medium, what's your favorite nail medium to use when creating nail art, or just nails in general?
Gel. I'm a gel girl. I worked as acrylic. I did acrylic for a long time. I was airbrushing back in the 90s, and then I did acrylic, and then pink and white acrylics, and then we would do the backfills and e-filing and everything. And then when I discovered gel, for me, I can sit there and, learn how, each different viscosity, how to work with it, and to get it to flow and self-level, and to create almost, I had it down to this knack where I could create a nail that you practically didn't even have to file. It would just self-level, and you'd have this perfect structure and sculpt. And to me, it was just so relaxing just to sit there. I could do it all. I used to work 14 hours a day in the salon and just sit there all day. And it was just, to me, I actually, every time I pick up the brush and start working with it, it's great. It's just kind of relaxing to me. So that's my thing. Some people are like, oh, if they're not used to it, it's sticky, and they don't really. I think once you learn the skills of working with it, you can really control any gel once you learn, that particular properties of that gel. So that's my favorite thing.
Right, exactly. So in terms of the nail industry, from how you first started to now, what is your take on the whole progression of the nail industry?
It's really, it's changed so much in recent years. I think it's really, it's amazing how much it's grown with social media. Nails are really, really important. And I think nails have always been important to women, because it's something that's a small luxury that they just feel so good when they're done, and you don't have to be this fancy person, and you can have short, natural looking, like my nails lately, this is what I wear. But if my nails aren't done, I'm super self-conscious. They actually, when I do them, and then I go out and I pay, and my hands are right out there. And I remember working in the salon, I would do people's nails, and they would just feel so happy, and it made them feel good. So I think as a nail tech, it's good that you have this gift to be able to make people feel good about themselves, to work with people. And as far as the industry growing, the advancement in the technology of the products is just so amazing. What we can do now, where in the beginning, every layer of gel, you put in the light for 2 minutes. So it would take so long, even to do a demo in a class, 2 minutes, and you do wait, and then do it, and then 2 more minutes. Now, we have gels that are we have a 1-coat gel by Hazel Dixon that we sell, HD Pro, and it's literally a base coat, color, top, you can put 1 layer on the nail and it's done, So even acrylic, everything has advanced so much. There's so much available. There's so many different techniques. But also there's so much more education available with videos and online classes. You don't have to live in a prominent city to be able to take a class, or fly halfway across the country. Obviously, in-person classes are all amazing, but I think that if somebody really wants to succeed and get into an industry where they can build a business and do well, I think that nails is an amazing business to get into, if you're willing to put in the work. And that's the other thing. I think a lot of people get into nails thinking that it's a quick thing. You can get your license in no time, and then the business is just going to come to you. But it's definitely an investment that people need to make, and they need to invest the time to learn as much as they can, because the more you know and the better you are. If you're good, you're going to be busy, you know. If you're good and you're professional, you have good ethics, you follow all procedures, and you follow all the top standards, you will succeed and do very well.
I most agree with that, like, wholeheartedly, because I do believe that it does take work. Of course, with anything, like how you said before, it doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take a lot of time to, build skills, especially with the nails, and that's why I enjoyed nails, because, not just because of the work, but it's also learning different techniques and skills to help progress. And I took cosmetology courses in high school, and I got my cosmetology license to do nails. So, I've had experiences working in a salon, working with different clients and things like that. So it's different things in terms of the nail industry that we have to learn. So it's not just learning a nail service, but it's learning how to work with clients, learning how to do documentation and insurance, learning how to make the clients feel good and feel happy and things like that. So, there's many avenues of nails that we can learn. And that's what's so beautiful about the nail industry as well. So, and also too, we have a plethora of nail courses and nail videos that we can learn from, and nail competitions. You learn from a lot of people around the world. One of the nail techs I really loved, I'm a huge fan of their work. Her name is Koska Bohana, and she's from Serbia. And she does really long nails. Like, oh, it's amazing. It's totally amazing. And especially, like I said, Catherine Wong, Viv Simmons, Hazel Dixon, who I interviewed for the show. So, it's the avenues and the possibilities are endless. That's all I can say. Yeah. Now, in terms of success, how would you define success?
Success, I think, to each person is different. I mean, I feel like for me, my success, if I'm happy with what I'm doing and I'm growing and I can help people and I feel, I can look in the mirror and I guess it's what makes you happy, right? If you're out there, I mean, I've had so many different successes. When I look back at my industry and reflect at my career and reflect, I've had so many people who have helped me to get to where I am. And I've had so many amazing opportunities. And I feel like I've done just like a little bit of everything. And I do feel comfortable saying that I'm successful, but 30 years ago, I never would have thought that I would be where I am today. I was working thinking this is great. I love what I do. For me, it's always been something. I've never said I need to go find another job doing something else. I've just had these opportunities that have come that I've just been like, oh, okay, this is a good idea. And I've pursued them without being afraid and never knowing where it's going to take me. But I've always put the effort in and taken the opportunities. And I think that's what has led to my success, is putting the work in, taking the chance, doing what makes you happy and enjoying it. That's my kind of take on success, I guess. I think that some people look at something and they're like, I want to be successful like that, or they think a certain thing will make them successful. But I think everybody's journey is going to be different. Everybody will, and everybody has opportunities. It's just a matter of following your heart and doing what's best for you.
Right, exactly. Most definitely. That's like how my dad always tells me, like, you have to be prepared for opportunities, like seize opportunities. Exactly. And he always said the recipe for success is preparation meets opportunity. Exactly. And I believe that's very, very important. It's not only just enjoying what you do, but it's also seizing opportunities to help you propel and take your career and artistry to the next level. And I believe that as well, wholeheartedly. And that's why I take on like different things, because that helps expand my knowledge. And I love interviewing you guys. I love hearing about different perspectives, different opinions, different aspects of knowledge within the nail industry, because it helps me learn more. It helps me understand more the ins and outs of the nail industry. So I think a part of that is success, because knowledge is very important. Knowledge is power.
Exactly.
So that's the whole thing with that. So in terms of daily life, how do you balance work and daily life?
Um, now it's in the past, it's been a struggle because of, having a family, having all these different things going on. Um, it was, it was always hard, it was
Mhm.
for many years, I didn't watch television at all. There was no time, prior to becoming, when my kids were little and I worked in the salon full time. I used to read books. I would read fiction novels and different books and stuff. That was my pastime. I'd sit with a good book and um, and that was what I loved to do. I would read. I would do different crafty things, and then I started the business. So for the past 15 years, or for the past 10 years, for the first 10 years of the business, I didn't, my everything, any free time at all, I was on the computer or doing bookkeeping or, learning something, taking classes, practicing. There was no television, there was no movies, there was, every once in a while I'd go out with friends, I would do things with the kids, but every time it was downtime, it was just work. So I worked so many hours for so many years. And then when I got to the point where it was the business end of it was taking over and I couldn't keep up with my customers. That was when I retired from working on customers.
Mhm.
Then it was traveling and, you know, traveling and teaching and the business. So it kind of just went from working on the customers to the traveling and the teaching. And I think that a lot of people think that's really, the traveling is, oh, you're on vacation again. I'm like, no,
Right.
you have no idea the amount of work to pack your kit, to prepare, to promote, to do all these things. And then you get there and there's jet lag and it's not vacation. It's not as glamorous as people think, but it's amazing. I wouldn't trade it all for the world.
Mhm.
And then once when COVID hit, I stopped with the traveling and all of that. And now I look back and I feel like I'm almost, I wouldn't say semi-retired. I'm always busy with, I'm always working and I do all my own bookkeeping and my distribution business has grown so much. So it's kind of weird how things kind of work out, like without planning them, like I've been
Right.
able to, my business has grown. I've been able to focus on on the business end. I do want to travel again, but I think that now at this point in my life, I'm just going to work more on the business end. And I want to get more into doing some educational videos and
Mhm.
traveling, but not as much as I had been, because now I'm a grandmother.
Mhm.
I have, and I watch the baby 2 days a week. So now I have like a little bit more of a personal life and I'm finding more of a balance now. But it took me many, many years to get to the point where, it's like this always.
Right.
You go from one and you get through it and you set your goals. Um, so now I'm a little bit more balanced than I've ever been, which is nice. I still work most of the time. I'm always working, but I do take a little bit more time for family and some just downtime.
Mhm. Mhm. How would you define your impact in the beauty industry?
Um, I like to think that I've impacted and helped people as much as I could. I know that's what made me get started as an educator was
Mhm.
it wasn't even because I wanted to be an educator. I
Mhm.
actually just loved what I did so much and I wanted people it was doing so good and I just wanted other people to find the same happiness and joy that I was getting out of my job. And I wanted to share. So and being able to help people, and getting like an email from a student, even years later who will say, I took that class from you and you changed my whole career.
Mhm.
That's to me a huge impact. If I can impact somebody where I changed their career and they were ready to retire and I turned it around and showed them something and now they're successful and they own 2 salons, that's a huge impact.
Mhm.
Um, so, I mean, so many people have impacted my career,
Mhm.
and I've had so many opportunities. I've traveled, I've learned from so many amazing people, even like the most recent years in Russia, we have some amazing Russian distributors, and our German distributors and Hazel and all of our UK educators. And I've had the opportunity to work so closely with so many of them, um, that I'm like, I go there to teach them, but I'm actually learning so much more
Mhm.
once
Right.
I'm there. Um, and also working with celebrities. I've had people have like L from Elle Gerstein from New York.
Mm-hmm.
She took me under her wing and introduced me to that whole, working with an agency and doing celebrity nails and working with Tom Baychick on things. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it all still, at the end of the day, being an educator and teaching people has been the most for me. So I'm hoping that was my biggest impact, was people that I was able to teach. If I could help them learn something that made them enjoy their job and made them be more successful, then that's my success as an educator.
And lastly, where can people find you on social media? And also, how can people get access to products?
So social media is a big thing for me right now, because in April, my social media got hacked and my Instagram account completely deleted with all of my followers. Somebody hacked the one thing that you think, wow, wouldn't that be awful if that happened? It happened to me. My Facebook, we had been on a vacation. I believe I was on an unsecured network, and I had a very easy password for all of my accounts. Easy for me to remember, but I guess it was easy for people to hack. So that's the one advice I would give everybody for your business is have a, encrypted, a difficult email password. So my social media was hacked. They hacked my Facebook. Facebook is connected to Instagram. I'm not sure what they did once they got onto my Facebook, but Facebook actually shut down my Facebook account.
Oh, wow.
Because of something I had to prove my identity, which I sent in all of the information to prove my identity, but you can't call Facebook. There's no phone number to explain, or to even find out. There's no customer support whatsoever unless you're in Facebook. And because I was locked out, I couldn't get in. I hired people. I went through so many people to try to resolve this issue, and they were just basically like, there's nothing you can do. So once they hacked my Facebook, they actually deleted my whole account. So my original Instagram account was Gel Essentials, all one word. If you look it up right now, it's no longer there. It's just gone. So I had to create a new account. It's Gel_Essentials with a Z, which is my business name. So that's my Instagram. So anybody who followed me or wants to, they would have to go and refollow my new Instagram account, which I've been working on building. And then my Facebook, before I think it was Gina Silvestro. Now it's Gina Silvestro with my maiden name Rinaldi in parentheses next to it. So it's a whole new account. Fortunately, it was easy for me to add most of the people that were my contacts. They came right up. So I have about 1,500 people on Facebook, which was pretty fast. But I'm not in a lot of the groups that I was in, and I'm just really slowly rebuilding. So people can find me. If you search my name on either, my accounts will come up, Gina Silvestro. But always my website. We have links to our account, my social media on my website, which is gelessentials.com, essentials with a Z at the end. And as far as buying products, that's still the website. The website wasn't hacked at all, thank goodness. The business, everything is fine. It was just my personal Instagram and Facebook, which is what I used for my business for me. So I'm there again. I just have new accounts, but it's the biggest bummer, I think, is that I would have all these memories of competitions and classes and places I've traveled for work that would come up in my memories. I have no more memories anymore before April of this year. I lost it all. So I'm rebuilding my social media slowly but surely.
That's good. Well, thank you so much for joining to the show. It's such a pleasure to have you. You're such an inspiration to a lot of people. You're such a go-getter and a businesswoman. So thank you so much for allowing me to interview. Thank you for sharing your story and your knowledge and ins and outs of the beauty industry. And thank you so much. It's been a great opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you for doing this and interviewing people so that you can share all this information with everybody. And good luck to you in the competition.
All right. Thank you so
I'll
much.
be rooting for you.
Take care. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also, follow me on my social media platforms and visit my website, ASIATHABIRD.com, and be on the lookout for more interviews to come very soon. Take care and stay beautiful.